Good morning. Yeah, technically morning. Yeah, 5:34 a.m. Now, I wanted to make a bit of an update to the previous video I made in regards to the ridiculous situation that's been going on with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and the whole save deleting glitch issue. Because, yeah, I will admit my previous video was a bit all over the place because I was making it very late and also I was tired. And also, I was literally panicked because, trust me, I can't, how should I put this? I was worried that, I fucked up somehow, but it turns out that I did not F up. I did not fuck up. It turns out, for the moment, knock on wood, for me, my game is acting good after doing the DLC, after installing the DLC and everything else. So far, my save data has been intact. I was able to confirm this, so knock on wood, I'm good for now. But what I am going to get into is, judging by the information that I've been seeing coming in from YouTube and other sources, to me, and this is just my opinion, at this point Nintendo doesn't really Nintendo and the Pokemon Company and Game Freak don't know what's actually going on, because it's kind of like case by case. Now, yes, I am going to say that only a handful of people are experiencing this issue. However, the incident should not be downplayed. It still shouldn't be like this at all. Now, I'm going to get into that part of it in a moment, but I'm going to discuss based on what I've heard from various YouTube sources and YouTube channels. I've heard that basically the issue happened when people were connecting their Pokemon Go games to their Scarlet and Violet games and sending postcards. First and foremost, I'm going to tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. If you attempt to connect Pokemon Go to your Scarlet and Violet games, and it doesn't work, like the postcard isn't able to be sent, for the love of God, do not force it. Do not force it. Because doing so could end up screwing you big time. Because that's what I've heard, like, it happened to somebody where they weren't able to send a certain postcard and they tried again later with the same card over and over again. And yeah, it worked, but then when they booted up their game again, it was effed over. The save file, they had that save file can't be found glitch. So considering that, for the time being, I am absolutely, personally, I don't know if everybody else can do whatever they want, but me personally, I am absolutely avoiding connecting my Pokemon Go. I did connect my Pokemon Go game and only sent one postcard. That was a long time ago. That was a while ago, before I even knew this issue was around. And fortunately, my save file was okay after doing that, and it worked the first time. But after I found out about this glitch, like I stated in my previous video, I did disconnect my Pokemon Go from my game whatsoever, because, shoot, I do have a few shinies on there, and I don't want to lose those few shinies that I have, because God only knows when the heck they're going to implement Pokemon Home for Scarlet and Violet. But at this moment in time, I would recommend avoid connecting your games to Pokemon Home if you haven't already. As for the DLC, because yes, I am aware that there have been issues where where certain people got this glitch after downloading the DLC. Fortunately, I was able to download the DLC and I didn't experience this on my Scarlet game for the moment, knock on wood. However, for the moment, I would also hold off on getting the DLC until this issue is resolved, and you got plenty of time, because the first wave of the DLC, the first part of it, isn't supposed to come out until, like, fall, and the other part's supposed to come out in winter. Basically, same thing they did when Sword and Shield was coming out with their DLCs. They did one part in the fall and the other part in the winter. So they definitely have more than enough time to try to get to the bottom of what's going on. The problem is it's difficult to find out what's going on because there's multiple layers to this issue and multiple. It's basically a case by case scenario situation. Now, what else was I going to say? So yeah, and also, in addition, I would be very cautious where you save. For example, the practice that I've been doing ever since my very first Pokemon games, which were X and Y, I recommend for people to save in the Pokemon centers. Like, if you're going to save, do so in the Pokemon Center. Or in an area where there's not that much going on, so that way the game doesn't, you know, have an aneurysm and end up messing up the save file. On top of that, if you start noticing like lag and stuff in your game, I would like lay down a hard save. Just to make sure, just in case the game decides to go and crash. Since even after their supposed fixes, the games are still buggy and laggy. I mean, I actually have a picture of it where I was trying to join a raid with one of my friends, and the stupid thing literally straight up yelled at me. In fact, hold on, I can actually show this picture that I was talking about. Hold on, let me move a few things around here. It'll be easier for me to just show it on my tablet than try to stop the video and attach another thing to this video. Okay, can you wake up? There we go. Okay. Now, let me see here. I had it in my pictures. I know I put it here. I just have to find it. So give me a moment. I'm going to pause the video. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Found a particular picture. So basically, I was trying to basically what I did is I clicked on the link code and typed in my friend's link code, and after it did the whole communicating thing, it threw up some sort of weird error message, and then it said this: "You cannot join this raid due to a problem with the Pokemon in your party," which makes no dang sense to me because no, they're not in this folder, it's in the other folder. Because here's my Pokemon team, because all of these Pokemon, this is basically the Pokemon that are in my party. Well, aside from that Azumarill, this is, I think, the old version of my party. But rather. But basically all the... Well, except for the Azumarill, but all these Pokemon are basically stuff that I got in the game. The only two Pokemon that were... Well, the only Pokemon that was traded to me from my friend was, of course, the Sylveon. Because because it's literally downright difficult to get a female Sylveon, and I needed a female one. And the other two starters that I needed because I wasn't able to breed at the time. Those are the only ones traded, and those are legit, normal, regular old Pokemon. And in case if people are wondering, my Switch is not modded. It's a regular OG. I have the OG Switch, the regular one that first came out. Not the very first that came out, because I had to wait a little bit due to circumstances. But Mine is not modded. I don't mod my consoles because I prefer to play legitimately, instead of modding and risk absolute disaster. So I don't do that. My console isn't modded, my console is normal, and yet I got this when I was trying to join a raid. And this wasn't the first time I got that error. I got the error before, and this happened after the recent this happened after I installed the recent update. So this is on the recent update of the game that I got this error. So on top of that, my game has been working normally for the most part, knock on wood. But I'm going to get into the other heated situation. In my opinion, basically, I'm going to say this straight up. Even though this save glitch issue, and also there has been reports of people getting the save glitch issue without even connecting to Pokemon Go or without even downloading the DLC. So it leads me to believe that there's possibility of 3 problems here. 1, somehow something screwy is going on with Pokemon Home. Not Pokemon Home. Pokemon Go, when it sends the postcard data to the game. Either it's some sort of weird character or something in it which causes the whole thing to go basically, because the way I see it is this: if it says the file is corrupted, it could not necessarily be corrupted, but there could be some sort of like foreign character in there because of whatever data that Pokemon Go sent over there. Or it can't find the save file because it was like renamed in some sort of weird name or has a weird character in there now that the Switch system can't understand. Because you'll get like similar issues in Windows systems if you try to use certain characters when naming files. You know, you can't use certain characters, otherwise the system literally throws a bitch fit in half if you try to. But the ultimate kicker here is at the same time it could just be a bad sorry if I'm kind of being slow here, my brain is a little right now. But at the same time, it could also be a bad update. But judging by what's been happening, most likely it's a possibility of a bad update combined with something screwy going on with Pokemon Go. So I would recommend, if you haven't, well, you can't not update. If you don't update, the games will literally force you to update. But my recommendation would be to just don't do anything don't do anything with the postcards at this current time of the video at the current time that this video is being made. Don't do anything with the postcards because it's just not worth the risk. A stupid butterfly isn't worth risking my entire save file. That's the way I feel. That's why I straight up disconnected the dang thing from my Pokemon Go when I found out about this thing. Because collecting a bloody butterfly isn't worth pouring down hundreds upon hundreds of hours down the toilet. Sure, I'm not that obsessed that I need every freaking pattern of Vivillon to the point where I'm gonna risk losing my save file, because I think it's something to do with this Vivillon thing. Either the game can't properly recognize it, or there's something with the postcards, or overall it could just be freaking a bad update. I mean, Nintendo is not, it's not like Nintendo isn't known for giving bad updates. and the Pokemon Company can screw up just like every other, company. But the whole thing is, this shouldn't have been happening. This shouldn't have happened in the first place, because the way I feel is the Pokemon Company, a company that literally makes billions upon trillions of dollars, should have been taking care of us, the consumers, instead of worrying about filling their pockets. Because the thing is, first of all, they should have, even if it's an update thing, they should have taken better care of the files to make sure there's nothing screwy going on. I mean, for God's sake, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet had issues from the very beginning. It was half-baked, and now we're to the point where this other update has basically caused even more weird things to go on. But what frustrates me more is if this is actually a DLC issue, that would make the whole situation a billion times worse. Because first of all, they're charging for this freaking DLC. Second of all, everybody who wants to be, this DLC is supposed to be basically the continuation to like the story or a new chapter in the story of Scarlet and Violet. So the way I feel is, you would think that the Pokemon Company would make 1,000% sure that these files are working correctly and are not going to screw over people's save data. But ultimately, where we're at is Nintendo doesn't know what's going on. And also, if you do have issues with any of the postcards, do not delete that particular postcard. If you have an issue with a postcard in Pokemon Go, keep that postcard so that way you can somehow maybe send it to Nintendo or to the Pokemon Company, so that way they can figure out what's exactly inside the data of that postcard that's causing this problem. Because that's the whole kit and caboodle of the issue here, is there's like multiple different things going on at the same time, and also even though it's such a small amount of people, it's still a critical thing. Even though it doesn't matter how many people, even if it's just one person, it's still a critical thing. Because, I mean, when you have an issue that's literally causing save files to go poof, the whole excuse that, oh, it's only just a minor thing, a few people, it doesn't cut it to me. It shouldn't have been for a company that literally makes billions of dollars. This shouldn't have been happening. I understand companies can F up, but you would think they would really make sure, and absolutely make sure, that this kind of thing wouldn't happen. But then again, we're talking about Game Freak and the Pokemon Company. But anywho, what I was trying to get at is, that's the main issue here, is even the Pokemon Company doesn't know what's going on, or Nintendo, or Game Freak. All three of them don't know what's going on, because there's literally different things going on. There's different issues, and it's like case by case scenarios. That's why if this unfortunate thing has happened to you, even though Nintendo may not be able to do much, contact Nintendo. The more people contact Nintendo, the more Nintendo is aware of the issue, the more data they can collect, and the faster they can possibly find a solution to this problem. Because that's where we are at this point, where Nintendo basically needs us, the users, to help them figure out what's going on. So if this has happened to you, contact Nintendo. Don't be blowing up my comment section, because I can't help with this stuff. I'm not Nintendo. You have to contact Nintendo customer support at their proper websites, depending on where you are in the world. However, if this has happened to you, feel free to start a discussion in the comment section and stuff. But of course, keep the discussion civilized, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't want to be refereeing people, but keep things civilized. But anywho, this whole situation is very confusing at this point, and yeah, I'll still continue playing my Pokemon games. I'm just going to be extremely careful of what I'm doing. But the way I see it is, this shouldn't have been happening because for a company that literally makes so much money, they need to start, this needs to be a wake-up call to Game Freak. This needs to be a wake-up call to them, that the way they're doing things needs to change, because they can't be lazy anymore, because their laziness has potentially caused an issue. But until we figure out exactly what's going on and exactly where to point the finger, we're at a standstill at this point. However, if and when a solution does come, of course I'll make another update video and stuff. But at this point, if this has unfortunately happened to you, you're basically pretty much stuck. Now let me tell you, if this has happened to you, do not delete your save file. Do not, because you'll definitely won't be able to recover nothing. Just hold on to that save file until Nintendo, Game Freak, and Pokemon Company can find a eventual solution to it. And also report it to Nintendo and try to explain exactly what happened, because the more information Nintendo can get, and Nintendo and the Pokemon Company can get, the more likely they can find whatever bug is causing this problem and fix it before any more people get affected, and before the DLC actually launches. Even though they still have plenty of time. As for the whole Pokemon Home thing, they said in spring, so we'll see. We'll see when. Spring is still 11 days away, so we'll see about that. But anywho, that's all I'm gonna say. I just decided to kind of do like a little update video on some of the I'm not sure if it's new, but it's new to me. But some of the new information that I got. But anywho, I'm going to conclude this video for now. Feel free to, of course, comment down below, what you guys think about this situation, has this happened to you, etc., etc. And of course, as always, keep comments appropriate. And don't forget to like, subscribe. And I'll see you all on my next video, whatever it is and whatever it is. Have a good day. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.